The Last of Us Part 2 is an emotionally draining game. No matter how cliché it sounds, it's not just a game, it is an experience. Many games try to achieve this, but very few games can be described this way. Other games that can reach you at the same emotional level that The Last of Us Part 2 reaches can be counted on maybe two hands. I was a big fan of the first game for the same reason. I was extremely scared when I heard that there was bad feedback from the leaks, but having played the game before hearing any spoilers, leaks, or reviews, I feel as though the negativity is completely unjustified. This video is a deep analysis of the game. It is a review of how I personally felt about the game. It explores the negatives and the positives and what it could have been. I finished by giving it a rating out of 10. I've not spent a lot of time reading what others have said because I did not want their opinions to taint the way I feel about this game. I come at this from the perspective of someone who truly enjoyed the game. I am making this video because I want to share my love for this game and start a discussion about your thoughts on The Last of Us Part 2. So please, tell me in the comments what you thought of this game and feel free to comment on anything I say in this video. To really appreciate the story of The Last of Us Part 2, it is important to remember what the first game was about. The Last of Us starts by showing Joel and his daughter trying to flee the chaos of Austin, Texas. This chaos is caused by a mutant cordyceps fungus outbreak. As Joel flees with his young daughter Sarah in his arm, a soldier shoots them and kills Sarah. We are transported in time 20 years later where civilization has been destroyed by the infection. Survivors live in militarized quarantine zones in independent settlements, and society devolves into tribal chaos. Joel works as a smuggler with his partner Tess in the quarantine zone in the north end of Boston, Massachusetts. They hunt down Robert, a black market dealer, to recover stolen weapons cache. Before he is killed, Robert reveals that he traded the cache with the Fireflies, a rebel militia opposing the quarantine zone authorities. The leader of the Fireflies, Marlene, promises to double their weapons cache in return for smuggling a teenage girl, Ellie, to Fireflies hiding in the Massachusetts State House outside the quarantine zone. Joel, Tess, and Ellie sneak out at night, but they later discover that Ellie is infected. Full infection normally occurs in under 2 days, but Ellie claims she was infected 3 weeks earlier and that her immunity may lead to a cure. In the spring, Joel and Ellie arrive in Salt Lake City. Ellie is rendered unconscious after almost drowning before they are captured by a Firefly patrol. In the hospital, Marlene tells Joel that Ellie is being prepared for surgery. However, to produce a vaccine for the infection, the Fireflies must remove the infected portion of Ellie's brain, which will kill her. Joel does not accept this. Unwilling to let Ellie die, Joel rampages his way through the operation room, murders the lead surgeon, and carries the unconscious Ellie to the parking garage. He is confronted by Marlene, who he shoots and kills. On the drive out of the city, when Ellie wakes up, Joel claims that the Fireflies had found many other immune people but were unable to create a cure, and that they have stopped trying. Ellie expresses her guilt. At her insistence, Joel swears his story about the Fireflies is true, but Ellie looks confused and distrustful. This game was exceptional because of the deep and emotional bond that was developed between Joel and Ellie. Throughout the game, I think it became clear that Joel started treating Ellie like his late daughter. He had protected her on her journey, and she had protected him. Joel did not want to lose another daughter, and he was not going to fail at protecting his loved one a second time. Considerations of ethics were also very interesting to me in this ending. Should Joel have let Ellie be sacrificed for a chance, not a guarantee, of saving humanity? Was this operation even legit? How could Joel know if this was real science or just a bunch of nonsense? Further, Ellie was unconscious and could not make the decision for herself. Joel did not know if Ellie was willing to die for this or not. Moral dilemmas are situations in which the decision maker must consider two or more moral values or duties, but can only honor one of them. Thus, the individual will violate at least one important moral concern, regardless of the decision. This is what Joel was faced with. Did he make the right decision? I don't know. Would you let your daughter, whether biological or not, die for a chance of saving humanity, especially considering she could not consent? I don't know. These sorts of moral dilemmas with the incredible relationship developed between Joel and Ellie were the reason why I thought this game was so deep. In The Last of Us Part 2, 4 years later, Joel and Ellie have built a life in Jackson, though their relationship has become strained since the day Joel told Ellie the real story of what happened in the hospital. While on patrol, Joel and Tommy rescue a stranger, Abby, from an infected horde.
Give me your hand! We're gonna have to run!
They return to an outpost run by Abby's group. Joel and Tommy are then attacked by Abby's group, who are part of the Washington Liberation Front. also known as the WLF or the Wolves, a militia group based in Seattle. Abby seeks revenge against Joel for murdering her father, a firefly surgeon who was supposed to operate on Ellie to develop a vaccine. When Ellie is told that Joel and Tommy are missing, she and her girlfriend Dina leaves Jackson in search of them.
Because Tommy and Joel didn't show up.
What do you mean?
Ellie enters the WLF camp to witness Abby beat Joel to death with a golf club and swears that she will kill her.
Put her down! Get off me! Get her hand! Get the fuck off me! You're gonna fucking die!
Abby does not kill Ellie, but her group renders her unconscious. Tommy sets out for Seattle to hunt Abby. Ellie and Dina follow him.
Maria, I'm headed to Seattle. I wish I could let it go, but I can't. I have to bring these people to justice.
After escaping a WLF ambush, Ellie proves her immunity to Dina, something that Dina did not believe before.
Ellie, your mask! Here, we can share mine.
No! Don't take it off!
Ellie, stop! Ellie, stop! What? No! Ellie, no!
Stop! I'm not infected! I'm immune! I'm not coughing, do you see? Fuck.
In turn, Dina reveals that she is pregnant.
I think I'm pregnant. What?
The next day, Ellie pursues Tommy alone and encounters Jesse, Dina's ex-boyfriend, who followed them to Seattle.
What the hell are you doing here?
I think I'd let you do this on your own.
While searching for Abby's friend, Nora, Ellie encounters the Seraphites, also known as the Scars, a religious cult of fanatics locked in a years-long turf battle with the WLF over control of Seattle. Ellie tracks down Nora and tortures her for information about Abby's location.
Where's Abby?
Yeah, that little bitch got what he deserved.
Fucking
Help! Trespasser! Somebody, please! No, wait. No, please!
back up!
Get downstairs!
Hi, Nora. Oh, God. Oh, God. Where's Abby? Because I can make it quick. Or I can make it so much worse.
The game cuts to a scene years earlier where Ellie travels to the Firefly Hospital in Salt Lake City and learns the truth.
Most people have left already. I don't know which group I'm gonna join. I was one of the ones that wanted to go after the smuggler and the girl. They said, even if we found her or by some miracle found someone else that's immune, it'd make no difference. Because the only person who could develop a vaccine is dead.
She confronts Joel and forces him to confess. She tells Joel they are done.
Tell me what happened here.
If you lie to me one more time, I'm gone. You will never see me again. But if you tell me the truth, I'll go back to Jackson. No matter what it is. Just say it. Joel.
Making a vaccine would have killed you. So I stopped them.
Oh my God. Don't you fucking touch me! I'll go back. But we're done.
The following day, she kills 2 more members of Abby's group, the pregnant Mel and her boyfriend Owen. Owen is Abby's on and off romantic partner and ex-boyfriend.
Fucking get over here! Point to where she is on this map. And then you better fucking match up.
What are you doing?
She's probably dead anyway.
It is not worth it.
Stop!
We can talk
Back
about
the fuck up! Point to where she is. Fucking point! Tell me where Abby is. Where the fuck is she?
Back in the present, Ellie's group is ambushed by Abby in their hideout, after Ellie forgets her map where she killed Owen and Mel.
Shit.
Abby kills Jesse and holds Tommy hostage.
Jesse, stand up! Hands in the air, I shoot this one too.
Don't you do it, Ellie. Get out of here.
Stand up! Now!
Don't you fucking dare.
Shut the fuck up! Fuck. All right. Stop! Stop! Toss your weapon. Toss your weapon! Fuck.
No.
I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did to save me.
There is no cure because of me. I am the one that you want. Just let him go.
You killed my friends. We let you both live. And you wasted it.
The game then switches to Abby's story. We are plunged back 3 days earlier. Abby learns that Owen has gone missing while investigating Seraphite activity.
Where's Owen?
I don't know. A few days back, there were some Scar sightings out by the marina. Danny and Owen were sent on a sweep. And this morning, the guards found Danny collapsed by the perimeter fence.
Abby searches for one and is captured by the Seraphites.
Get the fuck off me!
She is rescued by Yara and Lev, Seraphite's siblings who have been branded apostates. Though Yara is gravely injured after Scars clipped her wings,
Free them, that they may know my...
Yara!
Where is the other apostate? Clip her wings.
Yara. Demons are coming. Cut her down. She's one of them.
Lev.
Abby leaves them in a container to keep searching for Owen who, delusioned with the war, plans to sail to Santa Barbara, California, to pursue a rumor that the Fireflies may be regrouping.
This area gets a lot of traffic. Whatever shape she's in, we need to get out of here by tomorrow. We'll be fine.
I'm going to Santa Barbara.
To chase a rumor?
I've heard it more than once.
The Fireflies aren't regrouping. They're gone.
It's a lead. I gotta see it through.
Abby has a nightmare of an executed Yara and Lev. she decides to go back to the container and help them.
Don't come any closer. It's me. Sorry. How's she doing?
When Abby sees that Yara is now sick due to her shattered arm, she travels across Seattle with Lev to retrieve medical supplies from the WLF hospital so that Mel, a surgeon, can amputate Yara's arm.
I was gonna clean it and try resetting.
The bone's shattered. She has compartment syndrome. What does that mean?
It means it has to come off. She's a soldier. You can't take her arm. We leave it, it'll turn gangrenous.
Just make it stop hurting. Please.
What do you need?
Ideally, a saw, sutures, clamps, antibiotics. But we're far from ideal right now.
We have knives, fire. Cut and cauterize it.
She would die from infection. Make me a list. I'll go to the hospital, I'll get
It'll
whatever
take
you
you
need.
all day to get there.
I don't mind.
It's not about you, Abby. She doesn't have a couple of days.
What if I can get you there in 2 hours? The Wolf Hospital, right? On the west side?
Can't you handle 2 hours?
Probably, yeah.
So make the list.
After the surgery, Lev runs away to convince his mother to leave the Seraphite cult, forcing Abby and Yara to pursue him.
Lev! Get back here! Lev!
What's he doing?
He's going after her.
After who?
His mom.
She's gonna kill him, Abby.
Is the boat ready?
Not yet.
How much time do you need?
A few hours.
We'll head him off. We'll grab a boat from the marine. Hey, she just had surgery.
I'm fine.
How else am I gonna find him?
They find him in the Seraphite settlement, where Lev has accidentally killed his mother in self-defense.
Listen, you're defending yourself. You did nothing wrong. It's gonna be okay, I promise.
The trio flee as the WLF begins an assault on the Seraphites. Abby betrays the WLF to save Lev, and Yara sacrifices herself to allow Abby and Lev to escape.
This way.
Got one!
Yara! Yara, get up! Yara, please!
We need to move.
Come on! I can't leave her here! Stay back! Drop it! Now!
Oh, shit.
It's Abby! I said stay back!
Stand down.
Isaac.
What the hell are you doing?
I need you to hear me out.
What's that behind you?
He saved my life.
Move out of the way. We'll deal with you back home.
He's not one of them, please.
Abby, move.
God damn it, he's just a kid!
You have 3 seconds to get away from that scar. 1,
You really gonna shoot me?
2.
I'm not fucking moving.
No!
What the fuck?
The pair returns to find Owen and Mel dead, and a map left by Ellie leading to her hideout.
Abby.
Abby shoots Tommy and brawls with Ellie and Dina, overpowering them. Ellie begs Abby to spare Dina's life as she is pregnant. At Liv's insistence, Abby spares them both and tells them to leave Seattle.
Wait! Get off of her! Move me!
Come on.
Stop! She had nothing to do with this. She's pregnant.
Good. Abby. Don't ever let me see you again. Come on.
A year later, Ellie and Dina are living on a farm, raising Dina and Jesse's son.
Ooh, look at those moves.
These moves?
Yeah.
Ooh, look at Mama go.
Mm?
Oh, wow. Ooh. Oh, no. This is kind of working on me. You're weird.
I'm aware.
Okay. Okay, you're distracting me.
No. Oh, okay, all right, go.
Okay.
Though Ellie suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD.
Come on, little dude. Come on, little guy. Do you want to eat?
Ellie, look at me. It's okay. You're home. You're home. Breathe, breathe. Okay, I'm gonna take him, okay?
When Tommy arrives with information about Abby's whereabouts, Ellie needs to fight Abby, despite Dina's plea to stay.
So I've been putting out feelers for months now. And this new guy, heard my story. He told me about a woman that he traded with while he was moving through California. Described her as built like an ox, traveling with a kid with scars across his face. He said they're living along this coast in a beach sailboat right here. That's gotta be her.
We're done with that, so.
Reckon it's easy. Forget about her. You sitting all comfy way out here?
Hey.
I'll make her pay.
Tommy.
That's what you said when we got back to Jackson.
Tommy.
What a joke.
Can you take him, please?
Yeah. Here. I got you. I got you.
Hey. What the fuck was that?
Nothing.
God damn it, Tommy. You know what we've been through.
I'll save it. She made me a promise.
I don't fucking care.
I know you don't, Dina. That's your goddamn problem.
Listen to me.
Oh, yeah, no, fucking
Go back to bed. We'll talk about it in the morning, okay?
I have to finish it.
You don't owe Tommy anything.
I don't sleep. I don't eat. I'm not like you, Dina.
What? You think this is easy? For you and for him, I deal with it.
I love you.
Prove it. Stay.
I can't.
So what? I'm just supposed to sit here and wait for you? For God knows how long, just thinking you're fucking dead the entire time?
I don't plan on dying.
Yeah, well, neither did Jesse. Or Joel. Hey, stop. Hey, come on. We've got a family. She doesn't get to be more important than that. No. I'm not gonna do this again.
That's up to you.
Abby and Lev arrive in Santa Barbara searching for the Fireflies but are captured by the slave-keeping Rattlers.
Kill her now. Fire up. Come here, let me see you. You ready?
Wait, what are you doing? Wait. Fuck, man!
You're fine. Get that little one.
Don't you fucking touch him!
Shit. One hell of a catch, huh?
Ellie arrives and rescues Abby and Lev, who have been tortured and left to die. Abby looks nothing like she did before.
Help me. Please. It's you. Abby. I got you. I got you. They're both this way.
Ellie forces Abby to fight her.
I can't let you leave.
I'm not doing this.
No.
I'm not gonna fight you.
Yes, you will.
He's not a part of this.
You made him a part of this.
Okay.
Ellie wins the fight, but lets Abby live at the last second when she recalls her last conversation with Joel, in which she promises to try to forgive him.
Go. Just take him.
Abby and Lev sail to the Fireflies. Ellie returns to the farmhouse and finds it empty. She tries to play Joel's guitar with her damaged hand, recalls her telling Joel she would like to try to forgive him, leaves his guitar in the house, and leaves the house. Endgame is over.
You're such an asshole.
I'm not trying to.
I was supposed to die in that hospital. My life would have fucking mattered. But you took that from me.
If somehow the Lord gave me a second chance at that moment, I would do it all over again.
Yeah. I don't think I can ever forgive you for that. But I would like to try.
I'd like that.
Okay. I'll see you around.
Yep.
In the first game, the ending had a moral dilemma. In the second game, we're plunged into a world of moral tragedy, where no one is wrong, no one is right, and no real happy ending for the characters that we love can be realized. Ellie justifiably wants Abby dead for killing Joel, but Abby was justified in killing Joel for murdering her father, and Joel was justified in killing Abby's father to save Ellie. You might disagree with one of these, but you can't say one of these people had no good reason for doing what they did. Not one of these people were clearly evil or did a clearly evil act. Instead, this game plunges us into the vicious and never-ending cycle of revenge. The game reminds us that life is not always black and white, that people we hate for good reasons might have had good reasons to do what they did, that from your perspective what they did was immoral, but when we put ourselves in the shoes of others and truly empathize, what they did might not seem so wrong after all. People are not just good or evil, they are often an imperfect mix. Ellie is a good friend and lover who cares about her circle, yet is unable to move on in her life and retains deep-rooted grudges. Abby entraps, tortures, and betrays her former colleagues, but sacrifices her safety to protect two innocent strangers. I completely understood and agreed with Ellie's quest for revenge. Wouldn't you want vengeance if your father figure was trapped, tortured, and murdered? The man that sacrificed so much for you. The man that saved your life countless times. Yes, any clear-thinking, rational human being would want revenge and justice. I hated Abby when I was playing as Ellie. Who wouldn't? She was evil. Was she? When I started playing as Abby, I badly did not want to play as her. I was on a mission to kill her. Why would I want to play as the monster who killed Joel? No matter her justification and backstory, I was convinced I was never going to be able to agree with her actions. However, as the game takes you more deeply into her life and backstory, you start to appreciate Abby and empathize with her, just like you empathize with Ellie this whole time. You see her humanity when she bonds with Owen. Her teasing and joking around makes her likable. But you really start to appreciate Abby as a good human being when she goes back to Lev and Yara, sacrificing her relationship with the wolves to save strangers. It showed a more altruistic and soft side to her that we didn't really get to see before, other than when she was hanging out with Owen and was messing with him. The game generally plays well, although I do struggle with shooting sometimes, to be honest. Most of the shooting is done in third-person view, and I've only ever felt comfortable shooting while seeing my character in the third person in Gears of War. All of the games that have had this mechanic I've struggled with, including The Last of Us Part 2. You can toggle to a first-person view sometimes, depending on your gun and your crafted abilities, and that is usually better for sniping when you're already hidden. I love the stealth mechanic in this game, especially when it's time to assassinate the humans. I like that you can see through walls, I like that you can hide in grass and go prone, I like how you start to hear a sound when an enemy or an infected is about to detect you. I like the guttural sounds humans make when you cut them up. It's also pretty interesting that they added their friends screaming the NPC's name when they get killed. It makes it even more personal. I love Joel in The Last of Us 1. It's hard to hate a character you play with for almost the entire game. He cared so much for Ellie that he did the unthinkable and murdered a bunch of innocent people in the hospital to save her. He didn't want to lose another daughter. The fact that he ended up telling Ellie the truth and that she didn't take it well was such an interesting part of the story, and it could definitely have been developed. I badly wanted these two to make up and for Ellie to forgive him, but unfortunately they killed him off before that happened. I think Joel dying was important in showing the darker side of Ellie though. Ellie would obviously not be fueled by rage if it wasn't for Joel dying, but still, I was in pain when he was getting murdered. I liked him. I heard people hated playing with Abby. I didn't want to play with her initially either because I grew to hate her. Although I think that's exactly how they wanted us to feel. I think they wanted us to hate her and force us to play with her so we could empathize with her character. And it certainly worked on me. I knew it worked on me when I saw her picture on Ellie's table when she breaks into the theater to confront Ellie. I remember when I first saw that picture, when Ellie was looking at it, I was thinking, I cannot wait to kill that bitch. But then when I saw the picture again, after having played with Abby, I just thought Abby was a cutie. My whole perspective on her and who she was as a person changed. I don't really like the zombies in this game. It felt very repetitive to clear out zombies. I understand that zombies are necessary because this world is about a post-zombie apocalypse, but could the zombie interactions have been cut in half? People play this game for Ellie and her storyline. Do people really care about assassinating zombies? Most of these zombies killing parts get pretty boring too because you just tend to see the same ones over and over again. That is the runners and the clickers. Let's break down what type of infected there are in this game, just to recap. There are the runners, who are those who run at you when they see you. These are people who have recently been infected. The clickers, who are blind and will only run at you if they hear you. These are people who have been infected for at least 1 year. The time-elapse has turned most of their bodies into fungus. However, this fungus has made them stronger, so they are more dangerous. The stalkers were the most interested infected to me. These were the ones who were hiding and looking out for you, being well aware of where you were. They would put themselves in strategic positions and wait to jump on you. Stalkers are people who have been infected from somewhere between 2 weeks to a year. Some also latch onto walls and allow the cordyceps to fester, keeping the host alive until prey walks by, at which point the stalker breaks free and attacks. Bloaters have been infected for several years. The fungus growth has led them to become slow and blind, yet incredibly resilient and strong, with the fungus granting them armor plating. Bloaters can also tear fungus from their bodies to use as spore bombs to throw at enemies. However, this additional fungal growth makes them vulnerable to fire. Shamblers are people who have been infected for several years and inhabit areas typically thriving with water. While not as physically enhanced as clickers or bloaters, shamblers are able to grapple prey and expel large spores of clouds from their bodies, which cause acidic burns to the skin. When killed, the spores explode, releasing a final burst of cordyceps into the air. The Rat King is a unique infected that developed in the Seattle hospital after 20 years of infection. Formed from several infecting combining into one, the Rat King is colossal in strength and size and able to resist high damage from fire bombs and guns. Even after taking extensive damage, it does not die but instead begins fracturing apart into various infected parts. Jump scares are a cheap way to scare people, and I hate them passionately. I wish that this game contained 0 jump scares, but of course there were about a dozen and it got me every time, even though they are pretty predictable. I hate jump scares because I hate the feeling of almost having a heart attack. I found this game to be scary and creepy enough as is, especially in dark areas and in areas with spores, that it did not need to add jump scares. But all scary movies and games do have some form of it, so I guess that we have to begrudgingly accept it. There is one jump scare that I have to admit really got me and was really well thought out. It's the one where you craft your weapon and someone comes running behind you. I played this game wearing a headset so I could hear the steps behind me, and I tried to get out of that weapon crafting animation as soon as I could, but I still got grabbed.
I got her! We're not going back, understand?
Like I said, I avoided reading all the leaks and controversies because I didn't want the game to get spoiled. So playing this, I had no idea what was so controversial, although I did unintentionally hear it was related to an LGBT agenda being pushed in the game. I was really worried there was going to be overt virtue signaling messages and politics, because I don't necessarily like that in my games. I play games to escape, not to be reminded of our current real-world politics. But I didn't feel as though this game tried to push an agenda on me. They weren't being overt in their politics. They were just telling a story where some characters were gay, and one happened to be transgender. To be clear, what bothers me about politics in games, and what I mean about being overt in their politics, is when companies lecture us, or companies take on an activist role. Just like when Activision put that Black Lives Matter disclaimer before entering COD. I don't like this because they are trying to lecture us and overtly push their political agenda on us. And I say this as someone who does support the Black Lives Matter movement. But if politics is in the game because it is how the story is being told, that's fine. In this game, there's politics all over. For example, the Seraphites are fighting the wolves over land. That is inherently political, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't apply to the real world. There are other aspects though that could apply to the real world, and that all matters in how much you want to read into it. For example, you could argue that the developers were making political statements about religious fanatics by the way they were making the scars behave, just like you can say they were making statements about transgender rights when they told a story about a transgender boy being persecuted for wanting to be a male when born a female. Or not, maybe they aren't trying to make a statement and are just telling a story. We all choose how we want to interpret what the story is telling us in this game. For me, the politics did not matter, because I felt that it was part of the story, like I said. And if the developers intended on sending a message, they were so subtle that it didn't even matter to me. Also, I choose not to be offended. It's up to you if you want to be offended or not. And let's think about the outrage over Lev's story. Is it really politics and virtue signaling and pushing an agenda agenda to include a transgender character. Why can't a transgender character be included without it becoming an LGBT agenda that the developers are trying to push on us? There are transgender people that exist in this world. I don't see why it should be a controversy that they be included in a game. Is it because it's newer and unusual? I think some will say that it's not only because they included a trans character, but because part of the story was about this trans character being persecuted for being trans. I think this persecution of Lev fits well in how the Scars were portrayed, as religious fanatics that wanted compliance. So I think it's fine to have a trans character, and that part of the story is about this trans character. We do not get outraged when other minorities are put in the game. I don't think people should get outraged now. Anyways, I played this game without knowing what the controversies were. Along the way, here are what I thought it was going to be. We all knew Ellie was a lesbian since the first game, so even though she was having romantic moments with another girl, I thought it could not have been it. There was a guy at one point who called her a dyke, and a conflict ensued. I thought this could have been it, as it could be interpreted as the developers trying to virtue signal by denouncing homophobes. Then I saw Dina had armpit hair. That's clearly a feminist influence, but I thought it was such a small detail that it could not have been it. Do these characters look the cleanest? They are in the middle of an infestation and are constantly trying to survive. I don't blame her for not shaving. Then I saw Abby's huge muscles, and I thought to myself, damn, is she a transgender woman? That is someone transitioning from a biological male to a woman? She looks huge! Her arms are bigger than me and I've been lifting weights seriously for 15 years. Anyways, Abby is just muscular. I agree that it's completely unappealing and unrealistic. Women who lift weights don't look like that unless they take steroids. But still, all the hate just because one character doesn't look feminine seems like a petty reason to hate on a game. And then at one point I heard Yara refer to Lev as she, and that the Scars wanted to marry her to one of the men. I thought that was weird because I thought Lev was a guy this whole time, but I assumed I was just confused and I was going to revisit this later. Then I heard the Seraphites call Lev Lily, and I was again really confused, but I didn't click. When Lev was asked why he cut his hair, he said, I don't know. Again, it didn't click that this was a transgender male that shaved his head because he wanted to look like the gender he identified with.
I heard some of your people calling him Lily.
When he explained to me how he felt inside, I told him he had to keep it to himself. But then he shaved his head. Like one of the men. It was suicide.
He wanted to be a soldier like me, but they decided he was to be a wife to one of the elders. It's tradition.
It only registered when I finished the game and started reading why people were mad. I thought to myself, man, I didn't feel as though they were trying to lecture us about transgender rights, they were simply telling a story. But I guess some people are more sensitive than others. It's pretty shady that this small aspect of the game blew up and caused people to review bomb the game. This is such a good game, it doesn't deserve the player review it got. Review bombing a game just because a female character is muscular and another character is transgender is just depressing. When I played this game, I initially did not like that it went back and forth between time. I thought it took me out of the action way too much. But after finishing the game and thinking about these moments, I changed my mind and thought it was important in developing the characters even further and showing the more human aspects to them, something we weren't seeing much in the present. And by this back and forth in time, I mean the times where we were seeing a very young Ellie and a younger Abby. I heard that people were angry that they were forced to play as Abby, and I agreed with the general sentiment of unsatisfaction when I initially got switched to Abby, when we were finally about to see the confrontation between her and Ellie. I was in the action at the peak moment, and I wanted to see what was going to happen. Instead, they throw us back in the past in a way more mellow environment. When my adrenaline is pumping, I want to see what happens. I don't want to have to play a few more hours before getting back to this point. It just cuts off my excitement way too abruptly. Instead, what they could have done is allow us to play Ellie and Abby one after the other based on the day. When Ellie is finished with Day 1 Seattle, then we play as Abby in Day 1 Seattle. I think this would have helped with the game's pacing. There were also talks that this game is too long. I like my games long. I want my games to be as long as possible because I want as much content as possible for the money I've paid. I don't play games to just finish them like if it's a chore. anymore. I play games to enjoy the experience, to enjoy the present moment. I do agree that I thought this game was going to end multiple times, yet it kept going. I was surprised but happy. I wanted this game to keep going because I liked it. When it finally ended, I was sad. I just wanted to keep playing. Now we will probably have to wait another 5 years before we continue Ellie's story. This story is not just a simple revenge story, it is a complicated revenge story. Ellie finally finds Abby, and in this final scene, we can see the personal struggles Ellie is going through. We see the struggle between her desire to move on and forgive, and the desire for vengeance. She pulls out a knife, she could end it here, and is seemingly tempted, but instead she saves Abby by cutting her rope, just like Abby spared her life twice. Now Ellie spares her. Ellie does not attack Abby but rather follows her to the boat, and at that point there, I feel conflicted. Abby is saving Lev, just like Joel saved Ellie countless times. If Ellie takes revenge, would it be like killing Joel himself? Will she indirectly kill Lev too? She gets on her own boat and is about to let Abby go. This would have cemented her redemption. Her demons of revenge would have been overcome, but she is unable to resist those demons and decides to end it. She fights Abby and defeats her. She's drowning her and will inevitably end it if she chooses. She has a vision of Joel, lets go of Abby, and lets her leave. In that vision, Ellie says she wanted to die in that hospital. My life would have fucking mattered, but you took that from me. I don't think I can ever forgive you for that, but I would like to try.
I don't think I can ever forgive you for that. But I would like to try.
I think this vision of Joel reminded Ellie that she has to try to forgive people, or it is also possible that she saw in Abby Joel himself, since, like I said, Abby is saving Lev. I wonder if she empathized with Abby because she understood that Abby was plagued with the same terrible desire for revenge that was affecting her. She knows that Abby was fueled by the desire to kill the person who murdered her dad. In an older scene, right when Abby shows up to where Ellie was stationed in Seattle, we can see that Ellie's demeanor and words when she first sees Abby are almost empathetic of Abby's situation. "I know why you killed Joel," she says.
Fuck. All right. Stop. Stop.
Toss your weapon.
Toss your weapon! Fuck.
No.
I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did to save me. There is no cure because of me. I am the one that you want.
Even before this event where Abby arrives, Ellie is ready to move on. When Tommy says, "They got what they deserved," Ellie says, "But she gets to live." Tommy says, "Yes, is that okay?" And Ellie says, "It has to be."
Hey. They got what they deserved.
But she gets to live.
Yeah. Is that okay?
It has to be.
I feel like Ellie realized she crossed the line when she killed Mel, a pregnant woman. Mel being pregnant probably reminded her of Dina. The people that she was killing were in fact human beings, and it took her killing an innocent pregnant woman before realizing this. This is probably when she initially decided to stop hunting down Abby, when she realized the monster she had become because she sought vengeance. In the end, by not finishing off Abby, Ellie finally breaks the cycle of revenge. Revenge was a plague that was destroying her life. Revenge was the reason why she left her family. She finally moves on and lets go of the past. Forgiving Abby brings her back in touch with her humanity, something that was constantly being held back by her desire for revenge. As we know, when Abby ambushed Ellie and defeated her in their first fight, she spared Ellie and Dina. Abby was the first to forgive Ellie and break off the cycle of revenge, in large part because of Lev. Ellie broke off the cycle of revenge when she spared Abby, in large part because of Joel. Both characters broke off their cycle of revenge. The ending is a good ending for a story that cannot have the happiest of ending. Both characters survive, break their desire for revenge, and move on to the next chapters in their lives. Ironically, if Ellie had not come back to kill Abby, Abby and Lev would have died. Therefore, by having Ellie come back with killing intentions, she saves Abby and gave her another chance at life. Unfortunately, it is not the best ending possible because Ellie comes back to an empty house, showing the lasting consequences of her desires to seek revenge. Her lover and her family is gone. She will probably live with regret all her life, and on top of that, she will have to live with PTSD for the rest of her life. What is interesting when we speak of forgiveness is the aspect of forgiving someone without them having asked for forgiveness in the first place. Ellie never asked Abby for forgiveness for killing her friends and lover, and Abby never asked Ellie for forgiveness for having killed Joel. Yet there is an unspoken understanding from both of these characters that when they don't finish each other off, that they forgive the other, and that they do that for themselves. Not for the person that they are forgiving, but to remove the burden of revenge on their own shoulders. Forgiveness, therefore, is synonymous with moving on. This was a deeply emotional and even traumatizing game for me to play. It was as deeply emotional as the first game, and definitely more traumatizing. It is not a game you can casually play just for fun. It is an experience. I initially wanted to play the Game Plus version of this game, but I felt like I was not ready to be thrown in the emotional roller coaster that it is. After a few days, I got over those feelings, and I am now playing the Game Plus version of the game. I highly recommend you do so because there's a tremendous amount of details you get to appreciate only when you know what the story is. I will make another video about what I noticed while playing Game Plus that I did not notice before, and so far there's plenty to talk about. I give this game a 10 out of 10. This game has flaws, but the positives are so strong and outweighs the flaws so much that I can't give it less than a 10. It is, for me, a masterpiece that should be considered along some of the other best games of all time, such as The Witcher 3, God of War, The Last of Us 1, Uncharted 4, Zelda Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Halo 2. And yes, it is as good as the first one. When Ellie left Seattle after having lost a battle against Abby, I really thought that was going to be the ending. It would not have been the most satisfying ending, but it still would have been a proper ending. Moving on, even after not having succeeded in her quest for revenge, would have shown maturity in Ellie's character. She seemed at peace, alone with her family in her farm, far from danger, and with a potentially bright future. However, Tommy re-triggered the flame of revenge when he visited her and showed her where Abby was. I was extremely disappointed when I saw Ellie leaving and not listening to Dina's wise advice to move on. What she did amounted to rejecting her family for the perverted pursuit of vengeance. She said, "I need to finish it," but I ask, what does finishing it really mean? Of course, Ellie meant that Abby had to be killed, but I argue that the conflict was finished. Ellie was defeated by Abby. Abby won. Ellie took revenge by killing all of Abby's friends. That should be enough of a victory to move on, as she originally intended. Now she's back home with her family, finally at peace. But that was not enough. Only killing Abby was going to be enough. The potential satisfaction of killing Abby was greater than the satisfaction of living a long happy life with Dina and her adopted child. And that is just depressing. But it was an extremely important moment in the game to show just how much her desire for revenge was consuming her. What if Ellie killed Abby? I saw an article saying that this alternative ending was considered. I think it was a very good thing that they didn't go that route. It would have shown that Ellie could not have conquered her demons of revenge. In a sense, losing to herself. It would have also sucked for those of us who liked Abby as a character. What if after Ellie saved Abby, she changed her mind about killing her and decided to talk to her instead and make up? I know it sounds kind of cringy at first, but I long for a true reconciliation between these two characters. This would have shown even greater development in Ellie's character, that is, the ability to truly let go of hatred and move on. Of course, an ending like this would not have been as intense as Ellie almost killing Abby and then changing her mind at the last second. We can take real-life lessons from this story. The story of both Ellie and Abby shows us the atrocity of vengeance. It shows us that revenge cannot truly bring us happiness, and that sometimes it is better to let go and move on, even if we feel justice has not been served. I think that controlling our emotions and moving on is one of the greatest things we can do to be truly happy in our lives, no matter the circumstance or the degree to which an event has affected our lives. And this does not have to be moving on from something that requires us to potentially take revenge. It could simply mean moving on to the next steps in our lives. But again, this is just a video game, so maybe I'm reading too much into it. Will we see a Last of Us Part 3? I don't know, but I certainly do want to see one. There are endless possibilities for a continuation of this series, now that Abby and Lev have survived and gone away. I would like to see Ellie trying to reunite with Dina. Maybe something can happen with JJ, Ellie's adopted son, and Dina and Jesse's biological child, and Dina and Ellie can reunite to try to rescue him. Or maybe Ellie and a grown JJ can try to find a missing Dina. JJ could have grown angry at Ellie's abandoning them, and a difficult relationship could be redeemed through hardship while they're trying to find Dina. I would like to see Abby and Lev again. And I would especially like Abby and Ellie to meet again and reconcile once and for all. I would like a happy conclusion to come for the third game. Maybe Abby could have been working with Fireflies to redevelop a vaccine, continuing the legacy of her father. And when Ellie finds Abby again, she can offer her life in exchange for a vaccine, this time going through with the operation and saving humanity from the plague. This could be Ellie's ultimate absolution, her life's purpose finally accomplished. This would also gives Abby's life purpose, as it would accomplish her father's dream to save humanity. This could be the ultimate redemption story between Abby and Ellie, and Ellie's ultimate character development, showing that she is truly able to put vengeance behind her and move on. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, comment. It really takes a long time to do this. Thanks, guys.